Relationship. Brothers and sisters, close your eyes for a moment and take a deep breath. In the stillness of silence, we find clarity. In the pause between words, relationship, we discover wisdom. Today, let us embark on a journey into the power of silence and how mastering it can lead us to true victory. Relationship. One of the greatest gifts that many of us overlook in life is the gift of restraint in a world that constantly pushes us to react, to respond. Relationship, to shout and to defend, it is the one who holds back that often rises higher. Relationship. The strength of the believer is not in how loudly he speaks or how swiftly he replies. Relationship, but rather in his ability to control what he says when emotions are stirred. You see, when a person is angry and they restrain themselves, relationship, Allah elevates them. When a person is able to keep silent in the face of provocation, it is not weakness, it is power. Relationship. And this is a lesson we see throughout the lives of the prophets and the righteous. They were not men of noise. They were people of calm. Relationship, measured responses. When we learn to restrain our tongues, we save ourselves from 1,000 regrets. Relationship. How many times have we said something in haste and then later wished we could take those words back? But once a word is uttered, relationship, it cannot be taken back. The wound caused by a knife may heal, but a wound caused by the tongue can remain in the heart for years. Relationship, it is better to stay silent and be thought wise than to speak and reveal the ignorance within. Relationship. That's why the wise among the companions and the scholars of the past would weigh their words before speaking. Relationship. Just like you would weigh gold on a scale before spending it. Our words are a form of currency, spend them wisely. Relationship. Restraint is not only about silence in speech, it also includes controlling our reactions, our impulses, our anger, our need to prove ourselves right. Relationship. Sometimes the most powerful statement you can make is to walk away with grace. You don't need to win every argument. Relationship. You don't need to respond to every insult. You don't need to prove your worth to every critic. When you know who you are in the sight of your Creator, relationship, when you know your intention is pure and your heart is sincere, then the criticism of others does not harm you. The approval of people will come and go, relationship, but the approval of Allah is eternal. There are moments when silence is more eloquent than speech, relationship. When someone accuses you unjustly and you remain silent, the heavens record your patience. When someone slanders you and you respond with calm, relationship, the angels write it down as an act of strength. When you hold back your tongue, even though you have every reason to let it loose, relationship, you are not being weak. You are being strong. And not just strong in the worldly sense, but spiritually strong. You are protecting your soul from sin. Relationship. You are shielding your heart from pride and you are training your ego to submit. This is not easy. It takes practice. Relationship. It takes awareness and it takes a deep reliance on the Almighty. We ask Him to help us hold our tongues in times of trial. Relationship. We ask Him to purify our speech so that when we do speak, our words are words of healing, not harm. Relationship. It is said that the mouth should only speak what the heart approves. If what is inside your heart is toxic, it will reflect in your words. Relationship. But if your heart is filled with sincerity, kindness and humility, then your speech becomes a form of remembrance, a form of mercy, a form of light. Relationship. Look at the example of the one who is insulted in public. Everyone expects him to retaliate, but he takes a breath and says nothing. The crowd may mock him, some may even see him as defeated. Relationship. But the one above writes down for him a reward more precious than gold because he restrained himself when he could have unleashed a storm. This is a secret of the spiritual giants. Relationship. They understand that victory is not in reacting, it is in responding with wisdom or sometimes not responding at all. Relationship. This is especially important in the age of social media where everyone has an opinion and everyone is quick to share it. Relationship. You see people arguing day and night over matters they don't even fully understand. Back and forth, comment after comment, and for what? Relationship. To win an argument, to prove a point. What is the cost of that win? How much peace did you lose? How much time did you waste? Relationship. How much harm did you cause just to feel like you were right? Sometimes the most honorable response is to scroll past, to say nothing. Relationship, to preserve your energy for what truly matters. The one who practices restraint lives lighter. He sleeps better. His mind is clearer. Relationship, he doesn't carry the weight of grudges, nor does he fuel fires of conflict. He is at peace because he chooses peace. Relationship, he is respected not because of how loud he is, but because of how wisely he speaks when he chooses to speak. And when he speaks, relationship, people listen because they know he doesn't speak for the sake of speaks with purpose. He speaks from a place of knowledge, sincerity, and reflection. Relationship, restraint teaches us that not every battle is worth fighting and not every voice deserves a response. Relationship, it teaches us to differentiate between what demands our attention and what is merely a distraction. You cannot pour your energy into everything. Relationship, protect your time, guard your tongue, and remember that silence, when practiced with intention, is a form of worship. It is a sign of maturity. Relationship, it is a pathway to wisdom. And so, my dear brothers and sisters, if you ever find yourself in a situation where the urge to respond is strong, relationship, ask yourself, what will I gain from this? Will this please Allah? Will this bring peace to my heart? Or is this my ego wanting to be heard? Relationship, if the answer is unclear, it is better to be silent. That silence with the right intention becomes an act of devotion. Relationship, and through devotion comes clarity. Through clarity comes success. And through success, by the will of Allah, comes true victory. Relationship, my beloved brothers and sisters, as we reflect on restraint, let us also reflect on the other half of its beauty. The art of listening. A relationship. We often think that communication is about speaking, about sharing our views, expressing our thoughts. Relationship, but real communication starts with listening, and not just hearing someone's words, but listening with the heart. When we truly listen, relationship, we honor the other person. We make space for their experience. We acknowledge their presence. Relationship, listening is one of the most profound acts of respect you can offer someone. In the Quran, relationship, Allah commands us to listen attentively when the Quran is being recited. Why? Because in listening there is mercy. In listening there is understanding. A relationship, in listening there is transformation. The one who listens carefully gains more knowledge than the one who speaks constantly. Relationship, listening is the gateway to wisdom. The scholars of old used to say, relationship, you learn more by keeping your mouth closed than by keeping it open. This isn't just about formal learning. It applies to everyday life. Relationship, when you listen to someone with genuine attention, you begin to understand them. You see where they are coming from. You recognize their pain. Relationship, their fears, their hopes. Many of our conflicts arise because we are too quick to respond and too slow to listen. We assume, we interrupt. Relationship, we judge before understanding, and in doing so we break hearts. But when you train yourself to listen, you become a person who brings healing. Relationship, the friend who listens becomes the one who is sought after. The parent who listens earns the trust of their child. Relationship, the spouse who listens brings peace to their home. Relationship, and the believer who listens to the word of Allah and to the guidance of the Prophet gains clarity in this world and success in the next. Relationship, listening also teaches humility, because when you listen, you are admitting that you don't know everything. You are opening yourself up to learning. Relationship, you are setting aside your ego and saying there is something valuable this person may teach me. Relationship, and often the one we least expect to learn from is the one who has the most profound insight. Allah can send wisdom through any tongue, young or old, educated or uneducated, Muslim or non-Muslim. If we are humble enough to listen, we will grow. But if we are too proud to listen, we will miss the signs sent our way. Listening brings light to relationships. Relationship. Think of the person who listens to your worries without rushing to solve them, who listens to your story without making it about themselves. Relationship. That person becomes beloved to you because they made you feel heard. And that is something the heart never forgets. Relationship. You don't need to be a scholar to offer comfort. Sometimes all it takes is an open ear and a compassionate heart. And by simply listening, relationship, you become a means of ease for someone else. But the highest form of listening is listening to what Allah is telling us through His book. Relationship, through the signs around us, through the quiet moments in our lives. Are we listening? Are we taking heed of what He is showing us? Relationship, are we pausing long enough to hear what our own souls are trying to say? Or are we drowning it all out with noise, distractions, and endless chatter? Relationship. Consider for a moment the weight of a single word. A word can be a seed of hope planted in the heart or a blade that cuts and wounds. Relationship. How often do we speak without realizing the ripple effects of our tongue? Relationship. Each syllable we utter carries a potential to lift someone from despair or to plunge them deeper into sorrow. Relationship. It is said that the tongue is like a lion. You let it loose, it will wound someone. But if you control it, you gain mastery over your own soul. Relationship. So when you speak, aim to build bridges, not barriers, to erect homes of compassion, not walls of bitterness. Imagine your words as bricks. Relationship, each one placed carefully to create a fortress of dignity around those you love, around those you meet, even around those you struggle with. Relationship. When anger knocks at your door, answer with kindness. When frustration spills from your lips, channel it into encouragement. In every conversation, relationship, pause and ask yourself, will this word sow mercy or mistrust? Will it bring light to the heart or darkness to the spirit? By asking this relationship, you transform your speech into an act of worship. Each word of prayer, each sentence a testament to your higher purpose. Relationship, think back on moments when you received harsh words in your most vulnerable state. Perhaps you shared a worry only to be met with curt dismissal. Perhaps you reached out for comfort only to be handed a sermon. Those words lingered. They dug into your heart, left scars unseen yet deeply felt. Relationship. Now imagine the converse. The power of a gentle phrase, a sincere compliment, a timely "I'm here for you" in our homes, in our workplaces, on our streets. Relationship. Let us be craftsmen of compassion, shaping our conversations with the care of an artisan. When someone stumbles, offer words that catch them. Relationship. That remind them of their worth. When someone faces a trial, speak words of patience. Relationship. Remind them that every hardship passes, that the one who tests is also the one who grants ease. Relationship. Our speech can be a warm garment in the cold of distress or a scorching sun that withers the soul. Choose to be a shade, a refuge. Relationship. A source of coolness and relief. This is the essence of words that build, not break. Relationship. We must also remember that the most powerful speech often comes from the tongue of silence. Before you speak, let your heart speak first. Relationship. Let your heart fill with gratitude, with humility, with empathy. From that wellspring flows words that heal. But if the well is polluted by arrogance, relationship, envy, or haste, no amount of eloquence will purify what comes forth. So tend to your heart. Feed it the remembrance of the merciful. Relationship, cleanse it with reflection. Nourish it with acts of kindness. In doing so, your words naturally become sweet, drawing people toward goodness. Relationship, reflecting the light within you. Speak with intention. Let every word have a purpose, whether to comfort, to guide, to educate, or to encourage. Relationship. And never underestimate the power of a quiet word spoken in sincerity. Relationship. Sometimes a whisper carries more strength than a shout because it reaches the heart directly, bypassing the ear's defenses. In our daily interactions, relationship, practice this principle. Speak to uplift. If praise is needed, praise. If correction is necessary, correct with gentleness. Relationship, do not wield your words as weapons but as tools to build. When a child misbehaves, guide with love. Relationship, reminding them that behavior can be changed and that they are cherished no matter what. When a friend does, speak truth with tenderness. Relationship, for harsh rebuke can harden the heart, but compassionate counsel can open it. Every conversation becomes an opportunity to plant seeds of goodness. Relationship, and even the simplest exchanges, the salam in the morning, the good morning to a neighbor. Relationship, the may Allah bless your day become acts of worship when spoken from the heart. So let our speech be a tapestry woven with threads of mercy, relationship, patience and hope. And now, my dear brothers and sisters, let us pause to reflect on the power of the pause itself. Relationship. In the brief silence between thought and speech lies the greatest gift, the gift of choice. That moment, fleeting as it may seem. Relationship is where we decide whether to react or to respond, whether to lash out or to hold back, whether to wound or to heal. Relationship. It is in that pause that our character is tested, our discipline forged, and our wisdom revealed. Imagine that before every word you speak, relationship, you take a 3-second pause. In that pause, you ask yourself, is this necessary? Is this kind? If the answer to any of these is no, relationship, then hold your tongue. Those 3 seconds can save you from regret, from conflict, from the long journey of seeking forgiveness for words spoken in haste. Relationship, practice this pause in every aspect of your life. When someone cuts you off in traffic and anger flares, relationship, pause and remember that the other driver has a story you know nothing about. Pause and offer a dua for their safety instead of a honk of anger. When criticism stings, pause and reflect. Is there truth in this that can guide me to improve? Relationship, or is this merely a wind of ego trying to knock me from my path? In that pause, you transform an emotional reaction into a thoughtful response. Relationship. The world around us moves at lightning speed, yet wisdom often resides in slowness. By honoring the pause, we reclaim our peace, we regain our clarity, relationship, and we align our actions with our highest values. The pause also guards our tongues from sin. When the ego rises and pride whispers, defend yourself. Relationship, show them you are right. The pause stands as a sentinel. In those seconds of silence, relationship, you remember that defending your ego is not worth the loss of your dignity, your peace, or your relationship with Allah. Relationship, you choose instead to respond with humility. Perhaps the other is mistaken. Perhaps I could learn something, and the reward is immense. Relationship, for every moment you silence your ego, Allah raises your status, purifies your heart, and opens doors you never imagined. My dear brothers and sisters, relationship, the beauty of the pause extends beyond speech. It applies to action, to decisions, to intentions. Before you make a choice, pause. Relationship, before you react to news, pause. Before you judge, pause. In that stillness, clarity emerges. You begin to hear the whispers of your own conscience. Relationship, the gentle nudges of divine guidance. You start to discern between fleeting desires and lasting values. Relationship, you learn to sail the tumultuous seas of life with a steady hand, guided by the compass of reflection rather than the winds of impulse. Relationship, in moments of trial, the pause becomes a lifeline. When grief overwhelms, pause and remember the one who tests and the one who heals. Relationship, when temptation calls, pause and recall the sweeter pleasure of a tranquil heart. When doubt creeps in, relationship, pause and immerse yourself in the remembrance of your Lord. The pause turns storms into calm seas, transforming chaos into opportunity. And as you master this art, relationship, you find that the most powerful words are those preceded by silence, and the most courageous actions are those born of thoughtful reflection. Let us embrace the pause as a sacred gift, a gift that reminds us of our humanity, our fallibility, and our potential for growth. Relationship, let us weave pauses into the fabric of our lives. Pauses between thoughts and words, between words and actions, between actions and outcomes. Relationship, let each pause be a moment of prayer, a moment of gratitude, a moment of connection with the divine. In these moments, relationship, we find the strength to speak words that build, to plant seeds of hope, to heal hearts, and to chart a course toward lasting peace. Relationship, and when you master the art of the pause, you reclaim the power over your own life. You no longer act as a puppet to every passing emotion. Relationship, you become the author of your story, the master of your speech, and the guardian of your heart. Your words, when they finally emerge, relationship, carry the weight of intention, the clarity of reflection, and the sweetness of mercy. Relationship, and in that you become a beacon of light in a world too quick to judge, too quick to react. Relationship, and too quick to ignore the sacred pause that brings us closer to our truest selves and to our Lord. Relationship, imagine the moment at dawn when the world is still wrapped in darkness and only the soft whisper of the breeze calls to your heart. In that quiet hour, relationship, you sit alone with your thoughts, free from calls, notifications, and the endless chatter of the day. Relationship, you breathe deeply and let the stillness fill your soul. This is not empty time. This is sacred space where true growth begins. Relationship. In the silence of your room, without distractions, you begin to listen to the rhythm of your own heartbeat, to the gentle urgings of your conscience, and to the subtle guidance that flows from the one who knows all secrets. Here in solitude, you confront your true self, your hopes, your fears, your dreams, and your weaknesses. Relationship. You see the parts of you that you often hide from the world, and with each breath you come to terms with who you are and who you wish to become. Relationship. In those moments of silent reflection, you draw a map of your intentions and chart a course toward the highest version of yourself. You may ask, how do we cultivate this practice in our busy lives where every minute seems accounted for? It begins with small steps. Relationship. Dedicate 5 minutes each morning before your feet even touch the floor to simply sit and breathe. Close your eyes and ask yourself, what am I grateful for? What burdens am I carrying that I can let go of? What intention will guide my actions today? In these brief moments, you learn to turn inward to quiet the noise and to center your mind on what truly matters. Over time, those 5 minutes become 10, then 15, and what was once a struggle becomes a cherished ritual. You'll find that your heart, tuned to the frequency of gratitude and clarity, radiates calm throughout the day. Challenges that once seemed overwhelming now pass by like clouds in a clear sky. Relationship, for your inner compass has been set by moments of reflection. In that stillness, you also meet your Lord. The remembrance of Him emerges naturally from the silence, filling your heart with peace that no outer possession can match. You begin to understand that the greatest treasure is not wealth or status, but a heart at rest in the knowledge that He is near, that He hears, that He cares. And from this place of divine companionship, you draw the strength to face each trial with patience, each success with humility, and each relationship with compassion. Solitude, therefore, is not loneliness. It is the beginning of intimacy with yourself, with your purpose, relationship, and with your Creator. As days turn into weeks, you'll notice a transformation. Your thoughts become more focused, your emotions more balanced, and your actions more intentional. You start to recognize patterns in your behavior, the triggers that lead to stress, the temptations that lead you astray, the habits that nourish your spirit. Awareness blooms in the garden of reflection, and with awareness comes the power to change. You no longer drift through life as a leaf caught in the current. Instead, you steer your soul with purpose. And when you landed, you return to your quiet space, not in shame, but in hope, knowing that each moment of reflection brings you closer to the mercy that softens the hardest of hearts. Now let us turn to another vital principle, transforming impulse into intention. In the rush of daily life, our emotions often hijack our decisions. Relationship, anger flares, and before we know it, harsh words slip from our lips, desire tempts, and we abandon our better selves for a momentary pleasure. Relationship, in such moments, we are driven by impulse. The quick jolt of feeling that demands immediate satisfaction. Relationship. But imagine if in that crucial instant we could pause. Instead of acting on impulse, we choose to respond with intention. Relationship, guided by principles that transcend the moment. That pause, that breath is your gateway from the fleeting to the lasting, from chaos to harmony. Relationship. To practice this, begin by recognizing your emotional triggers. Is it the honking horn that sets your blood boiling? Relationship, is it a critical comment that shatters your composure? Is it the sight of something forbidden that stirs your desires? Once you name these triggers, relationship, you can anticipate them. And when they arise, you do not deny the feeling. You acknowledge it. You feel the heat of anger, the pull of desire, the sting of hurt. You pause and ask,